We are live, and we are connected. I believe we're live on YouTube. Hopefully, I don't know, on my side, it shows me their names, so we are connected. All right, yeah. We were concerned that this wasn't going to go live because YouTube was telling us that they were having technical difficulties. So as you're logging on, let us know what city, what state, and or what country you're logging in from. I can see to my left, your right. I am looking at it just to see who's logging in with us. Let us know if this is your very first time logging on to book club, because we want to welcome all of our newbies. For those of you that are always here, you know what to do. Go ahead and put them hashtags in the chat: booktube, goodreads, booktalk, so that we can attract other people who love book club just as much as we do. So you all know that there some of the reasons why book club is so near and dear to my heart is because, number one, leaders are readers. And I want y'all to put that in the chat if you can. Someone type that in the chat for me. Leaders are readers, right? And then number two, you literally have to know that we will never, ever earn more than we learn. We'll never earn more than we learn. And then number three, and not in any order of what I call significance or importance, but the last reason why book club is so important is because you cannot pour from an empty cup. And on Mondays, when we have book club, this is my opportunity and your chance to have your cup filled. I am here to fill your cup because many of us are operating and running on E, and we don't even know it. So we are reading The Mountain Is You by Brianna Weiss. The Mountain Is You by Brianna Weiss, transforming self-sabotage into self-mastery. And we're actually in chapter 6 right now. We only have chapter 6 and chapter 7 left. And I promised that when we got to around this part of our reading, because we're almost done, that I was going to go ahead and introduce where we're going next from here. And so if we get done enough today out of chapter 6, I will go ahead and announce where we're going once we leave this book. We're actually almost done, and we're going to go ahead and dive into chapter 6, building a new future. I pray that you all had an amazing week since we've last seen each other, and I hope that all of you would tag, and share, tag a friend, let people know that we are live here on book club. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do the same thing because I did not do it earlier, right? So I'm going to go ahead and tag. I want you guys to take the link. Let's take a second to take the link and share it and let people know that we are live. So I'm going to take it and put it in a few places on Facebook because we will never earn. I was live on Facebook. That's why I didn't do it. I forgot. Learn more than we will never earn more than we learn. We book club. We book club. All right. And so there's the link. I'm going to go ahead and put this up for everyone. And hopefully everyone will see this. And let's go ahead and invite some people to book club. All right, let's invite people to book club. Let your friends, let your teams know, let your family members know that this is the place to be, as we are live on book club. We want to grow and learn together. And this is the atmosphere, the environment for growth to happen. And I am so excited, elated to serve you every single Monday on book club. Let me go ahead. I got one more little chat. I want to put this in, and then we will get started. All right, everyone, we're going to get started in 1 second. I'm going to let everybody know we are live on book club. Okay. All right. All right. Awesome. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get started and building a new future. Now that you have done the challenging work of beginning to release your past experiences, we know that the last chapter, in particularly the last chapter and a half or so, was a doozy. All right. So now that we've done that challenging work of beginning to release your past experiences, you must turn your attention now. We must turn our attention now toward building a new present and a future. When we release, we are wiping the slate clean to create something better. Is there anyone reading or watching right now that could get excited about wiping the slate clean and creating something better? One of the most common pitfalls of people who try but do not succeed in releasing their past is that their focus remains on just that, the past. The work now is to envision who you want to be. Connect with the most powerful version of yourself and design your life through your daily routine and uncover your true purpose for being. So now we're going to move into meeting your highest potential future self. A popular tool in psychotherapy is something called inner child work, or the process of imagining and reconnecting with your younger self. And in this process, you can offer yourself guidance, even going back to certain traumatizing events and readdressing them with the wisdom that you have now. But more often, the process of reconnecting with your inner child is to let them communicate with you. It is how you can rediscover your inherent desires, passions, fears, and your feelings. The process is akin to reverse engineering, which is when you identify the end goals for your life and then you work backwards to see what you need to do each week, each month, and each year to get there. However, it works the opposite way as well. You can use a visualization technique to connect to your highest potential future self. So, step one, face the fear first. I need everybody, type that in the chat. Step one is all of us are going to face the fear first. What is the fear? Maybe it's failure. Maybe it's rejection. Maybe it's abandonment. Maybe it's what? Like, you know what's so crazy? Most people would rather keep themselves in a prison, the prison that they're in, and be miserable in the prison because you're afraid of what people are going to think, when the majority of people that we deal with on a daily basis are dealing with the same issues that we are. The same issues. So one, we face the fear first. We sit down in a quiet place with a journal. And I've already encouraged each and every one of you book readers, book clubbers rather, to take a notebook and write it down. Write it down. Go back to the earliest remembrance that you have. Can be painful, but it's so healing. Go back to the earliest memory you have of abandonment, rejection, failure, doubt, denial, whatever the case may be, and start writing it out. And then when we finish that, we burn the book, right? And so you got to make sure you're doing it at a time when you feel relaxed and open to receive guidance. If you go into this exercise right here with fear, you are going to get fear. Next, close your eyes and begin a meditation session. Take a few moments to breathe deeply and center yourself. Imagine sitting down at a comfortable table in a well-lit room somewhere that you are happy and you feel at peace. Then invite your future self to come sit with you and talk. You can request that they are a certain age, but usually the age will come to you when you see them. Specifically ask for the highest possible version of yourself to sit down. And if you see anything scary at first, know that it is your fear of what could happen manifesting in your mind, not the truth of what will happen. So most people are sitting in bondage because you're afraid, you're fearing that something's going to manifest, not the truth of what's really going on. Because here's the reality of it. We've learned through this book that a lot of things that we were holding on to weren't even real. So here you are now holding on to these things that are not real. You won't let them go. And now you're afraid to move forward because you think you're going to manifest something that's not real. And the truth of it is it's not going to happen. Once you get past that, then you can start receiving advice from your future, more solid, more healed self. Step 2, write this down. Notice how your future self looks. When I think about the person that I was and now the person that I am, even physically, when I look at that person that I was and I look at who I am now, there's a clear distinction between who I was and who I am. Aside from what you imagine, this version of yourself telling you, pay attention to what they look like, how they behave, and what their facial expressions communicate. The point of doing future self work is that you can merge with this aspect of yourself. You want to clearly envision the most ideal version of yourself so that you know how your own life needs to grow, to shift, to change. See what they wear. How do they feel? What they do each day. These will be the keys to your own becoming. Step 3. Ask your future self for guidance. Because you got to release that younger version of yourself. Release that version that didn't know what to do, had no guidance, no one to talk or walk you through it. If you go into this process with a laundry list of scary, huge questions for your future self to answer, you're probably going to end up bound by panic rather than being open to receiving powerful guidance. Instead, keep yourself open to whatever this person wants to share with you. The message should be positive, uplifting, affirming, and helpful, even if they communicate something to you, such as you need to let go of this relationship. It should be done in a way that is so calming and reaffirming that you are confident and at peace with it. Step 4. Imagine handing them the keys to your new life. Number 4, we imagine handing them the keys to our new life. Make it personal, to my new life. Write that down. Imagine them handing you, imagine them handing you, your future self handing you the keys to your new life. Because you go back to the person that you were, the bruised, wounded, worn individual. And now the future self is handing you keys to your new life. Another powerful exercise is using your future self is to imagine yourself now sitting down with yourself 3, 5, or even 7 years ago. It has to be close enough that you can relate to this person, but far enough that you've changed. So you don't have to go all the way back to a 10-year-old. You don't have to go all the way back to a 15, 20-year-old. No, you're going to go back to 7 years ago, 5 years ago, 3 years ago, when you were a different version of yourself. So 3 years ago, I was living in Ardmore, Pennsylvania, surrounded by all of my family, our children, the grands. My parents weren't that far. The only one of my siblings who didn't live nearby was our brother Darius, who had moved to California. Our brother Jalil was already living here in Georgia. He had just moved in June. And 3 years ago, this month actually would be 3 years for him, June. But 3 years ago, God showed us that it was time for us to move. It was time for us to leave everything we knew because we were operating on autopilot and to go and become a new version of ourselves. So we had to come somewhere where many times we were alone because we were able to hear God. So now I can go back 3 years ago to that version of myself that was definitely afraid. See, because we didn't have anybody here. We didn't have anybody that could have taken us in for a night or two. We didn't have anybody here to celebrate holidays with. We didn't have anything or anyone, but we were operating on autopilot and our life was monotonous. Imagine sitting down in a space you used to frequent or inhabit. What you're going to do now is hand them pieces of your current life and all of the information that they will need to go from who they are then to who you are now. You can hand them your car keys, your email account for your job, your bank account, an outfit, or instructions on what to do in terms of career, relationships, or just day-to-day habits. Or you can imagine your future self giving you aspects of your life now. Imagine them handing you the keys to the home you live in, or your wedding band, or anything else that is part of the highest possible future self. Remember, this process should make you feel calm, affirmed, and more self-assured, not the opposite. Fear is a hallucination. Fear is a hallucination. I need everybody to type that in the chat. Fear is a hallucination. Hallucination. A hallucination. Fear is a what? Let's go ahead and let's look up the word hallucination. What is the definition of hallucination? Fear is a what? Fear is a hallucination. Fear, here's the definition of the word hallucination. It's an experience, an experience involving the apparent perception of something not present. I want to see if it's going to give me. That was so powerful. I don't even know. There's nothing else. Literally, it is an experience involving the apparent perception of something not present. Fear is not real. It is false evidence appearing real. Do we either trust God or we don't? Because it is impossible. Without faith, it is impossible to please God. That's what the Bible says. So fear is not real. And without faith, it is impossible to please God. It's almost like, so you going to church and you praying and reading the word, but you have no faith? O ye of little faith? You don't believe that the same God that has brought you out before, he can do it again? And without faith, it is impossible to please him. Fear is an experience involving the apparent perception of something not present. What's the definition of the word perception? Perception is the ability to see, to hear, or become aware of something through your senses. Perception is a way of regarding, understanding, or interpreting something, a mental impression. Perception. Intuitive, understanding, insight. So a hallucination is an experience involving the apparent perception. It ain't even apparent perception. Like it ain't even real. It appears it might be something you think. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. So fear is a hallucination. It's a trick of the mind and the gut. I need y'all to type that in the chat. Fear is a what? It's a trick of the what? Of the mind and the gut. And you know what the enemy does? That's what he tries to do. He tricks you into having fear so you stay paralyzed and immobile from moving forward. So that's why you get all nervous in your gut, because it's a trick. Fear is a trick of the mind and of the gut. So releasing your past into the quantum field. When something happens that scares you, and then you do not get over that fear, you become traumatized. Trauma is the experience of disconnecting with a fundamental source of safety. It happens most severely when our attention to our primary caretakers is compromised. But there's truly an infinite number of ways the world can traumatize you, and to varying degrees. There are lots of theories about what trauma is and where it comes from. Some believe that it is passed down physically through DNA. Argue that it is shared mentally and emotionally through learned patterns and observations. I believe that a lot of trauma comes from learned patterns and observations. So because you saw your parent or your mama, because a lot of people come from single family homes, you saw one or both of your parents operate out of fear, never out of faith. You operate that way. If you don't physically see it, you don't believe it can happen. See, but I saw my father operate 100% out of faith. Now, maybe my mom didn't. Maybe my birth mother didn't, and my mom that raised me didn't always operate out of faith. But my father did. So then I chose a career where I had to rely on faith my entire life for God to provide for me. Because if you don't curl hair as a hairstylist, you don't eat. I didn't have a stable, regular check coming in. I always had to fend and pray that God would bring me clients. I didn't go in at 9 o'clock, know that I was going to get off at 5 o'clock, and know that I was going to make this amount of money. So I believe a lot of this is DNA. It's what you watched. Others argue that it is shared mentally and emotionally through learned patterns of observations. I believe this. I mean, not DNA. I'm sorry. I believe it's learned patterns and observations. I don't believe it's DNA. I believe it's what you saw. Most commonly, trauma is believed to be an interpersonal experience we have in which we were challenged and then lacked the skills and coping mechanisms to rise to it. See, what happens is trauma comes when a child is facing something, or when a teenager is facing something, and when an adult, a adolescent is facing something, and your parents don't have the wherewithal to help you through that trauma. They don't have the emotional intelligence nor the spiritual capacity to help you get through a situation. And so you walk around life growing up with all this trauma because nobody helped you deal with it. Nobody helped you understand that you're not going to win every game. Nobody helped you understand that life is not always going to be fair. No one helped you understand that one heartbreak doesn't mean that everybody's going to break your heart the rest of your life. No parent helped you understand that you are enough, even if that situation didn't turn out in your favor. And so now you only believe you are enough based on what a job might pay you. So you equate, or your significance is in a title, which is why you got all these people all over the internet calling themselves coaches and doctor this and doctor that, and everybody got a title now. Everybody got a title. But the reason why people flock to churches and sit in the same seat every Sunday, and I'm deacon such and such, and I'm evangelist such and such and such, and I'm minister such and such and such and such, because the title gives you meaning. Ruh-roh. Most commonly, trauma is believed to be an interpersonal experience we have in which we were challenged and then lacked the skills and coping mechanisms to rise to it. No matter where it came from, if you have some kind of lingering trauma, you will know, because you will feel it. You will feel it physically in your body. I say this all the time. If you don't release the trauma, that little pudge right here that you just can't get rid of, this one, I probably got some trauma. I got to figure out what I'm holding on to, because I got this little back thing going on right here. What am I holding on to? You will feel anxiety, tension, fear, terror, sadness, or guilt. It will be displaced. It will be displaced. It will not have a clear direct cause. You will overact to certain things, and even when a problem is solved, you will still panic. This is the mark of trauma. You ever see people and you just be like, would you chill? Everything be Ira. Everything be all right. Hakuna Matata. What are you tripping over? They don't even be tripping over what's going on right now. They just be tripping because that's what they used to. Trauma is not in your head. It's in your body. Somebody type that in the chat. Trauma is not in your head. It's in your body. I'm going to say it one more time. Trauma is not in your head. It's in your body. This is the first and most important thing you need to know in order to overcome it. Although trauma is legitimate, it's a legitimate physical issue. You store those emotions, energies, and patterns at a cellular level. Thankfully, we can use the ripples at the top of the water to trace back down to the problem at the bottom. You can begin to use your body to help you heal. First, identify what caused the traumatic experience. You do this by feeling into yourself. You do this by feeling into yourself and noticing where you are. Where are you tight or tense? Our bodies harden to protect us. When we have a broken leg, our fascia tightens like a natural cast so that we do not bend ourselves that way again. Similarly, when our hearts are broken, our emotions tighten and so that we do not let ourselves feel again. Of course, eventually we have to walk, we have to love, we have to experience life again. We have to slowly soften the pieces of us that are trying to protect us so that we can move forward. Y'all type in the word move forward in the chat. Healing trauma is not just a matter of psychoanalyzing it. It is a matter of literally working through it physically. The next time you feel yourself overreacting to some kind of stimuli, you will notice that your body is starting to tense up and create a fight or flight response. To heal this, everybody, listen to this. To heal this, you have to force yourself to take deep, soothing breaths until that part of your body that was once tense is relaxed again. You will need to self-soothe in different ways: meditating, breathing, drinking enough water, getting enough sleep, using aromatherapy, sound therapy, or whatever else works for you. You absolutely must work to take your brain and your body physically out of panic survival mode. I'm going to tell y'all, I do not like going live. And every day is uncomfortable for me. Every single time I have to go live, I am uncomfortable. I used to stutter and stammer over my words. I don't know that I'm always going to have the right things to say. And frankly, I just don't like to go live. Now, I'm good at it once I get there, but it doesn't mean that I enjoy doing it. And they're just things that I don't like doing. I like speaking in front of people, but there's a process to get me up in front of people to speak. And I'm nervous every single time. So I have to go through these deep breathing exercises. Like before I go live, I take these deep breaths and I'm like, oh, and I go through this whole thing before going live or before speaking. Because I have to take my body physically out of panic mode. So, 1, identify what caused the traumatic experience. 2, reinstate a sense of safety. Reinstate a sense of safety. You are traumatized because something scared you, and you are convinced that it is still out to get you. This is what happens when we don't face or overcome something difficult. We assumed that that threat lingers indefinitely. The psychological aspect of trauma healing is that you have to literally restore the connection that was severed in the exact same way that it was broken. If you are traumatized about relationships, you need to build healthy relationships. If you are traumatized about money, you need to get really good with money. If you are traumatized about traveling, you need to travel again. We do not find the resolution in avoiding these things forever. In fact, just underneath the fear, we often find that they are the things we really want more than anything else. Third, stop taking thoughts and feelings at face value. So, last, to overcome trauma, you have to stop engaging in psychic thinking. You have to stop pretending that you are able to predict what will happen, that you know other people's intentions and reactions, or that what you feel and think is absolutely truth in reality. This kind of thinking is what takes a triggering feeling and turns it into a defeating spiral. You take one scary thing and you make it into a prediction for what the future will hold from one scary thing. You are not an oracle. You do not know what's next, though you are always capable of choosing what you do now. Almost always, the thing that you are most panicked about is a thing you do not know is happening for sure. It is usually an assumption, a projection, a fear turned into a terrifying potential reality. You might think that trauma is something that other more damaged people have, but that is not true. Everyone is traumatized in one way or another, but it is how we respond to it, how we ultimately grow and develop self mastery from it that determines the course of our lives. Becoming the most powerful version of yourself. Are you being the most powerful version of yourself? That's a question. We want y'all to answer that one because the book is answering. The book is asking, are you being the most powerful version of yourself? And be honest, because even I'm not being the most powerful version of myself. I do a lot, but I could still do more. So if you're sitting there talking about, I sure am, you're lying. If you had to pause to think about it, the answer is no, you're not. Everybody has different facets of their personality, and we act on them based on the context we're in. It's a social adaptation tool. You are not the same person with your friends as you are with your parents. Moving through these easily is a sign of high psychological function. We are acquainted with the versions of ourselves that our current life requires. We know who we need to be at work, at home, or in love, but we are often unfamiliar with the person we need to be in order to move our lives forward. My God. I would like to believe that I am at least the same person with all people, but I watch people. I watch people. You get around your boys, you one person. You get around family, you a different person. You get around this set of people, you get home with your spouse and your family, you're one person. Oh, I see it happen all the time. You're different versions of yourself for different people based on who really knows you or not. So everyone has different personalities, right? You are not the same person. Moving through these is easily a sign of high psychological function. We are acquainted with the version of ourselves that our current life requires. We know who we need to be at work, home, or love, but we're often unfamiliar with the person we need to be in order to move our lives forward. So who do you need to become to move your life forward? In inner child work, You visualize and you address your younger selves, often down to a specific age, depending on which version of you was traumatized. You communicate with the inner child self, learn from them, protect them, or give them the guidance that they needed when they were young. This proves to be profoundly healing for people, mostly because we do not evolve past our former selves. We simply grow upon them. However, this practice can work the opposite way as well. You can also visualize and connect with your future self, the version of you that you are growing into, or the person you know you are, or the person you know you are meant to be. That is often what I now visualize, the who I am growing to be. I don't really often go back and visualize all that trauma anymore. I don't do that because I got healed from that. I let it go. However, the practice can work the opposite way. So, what would my most powerful self do today? I want you to write that down and answer that question. What would my most powerful self do today? The first step to becoming your most powerful self is to literally envision that person. How do we become our most powerful self? We envision that person. Don't take yourself out of your current context either. Begin to ask yourself, what would the most powerful version of me do right now? What would they do with this day? How would they respond to this challenge? How would they move forward? The most powerful version of myself, the confident, assured, postured individual, the wealthy person, what would they be doing? Ask yourself, how would they respond to this challenge? How would they move forward? How would they think? What would they feel? Your most powerful self needs to be the CEO of your life. It is the person making managerial decisions, governing everything else. This is the editor in chief, the matriarch, or the patriarch. You are working for your most powerful self. Once you have a clearer image of what your most powerful self is like, you then need to evaluate what habits, traits, and behaviors are actively holding you back from fully embodying that person. Be aware of your weaknesses. Powerful people are not delusional. This is some kind of powerful right here. Powerful people are not delusional. They do not believe that they are perfect all the time at everything, because I definitely don't believe that. But I'm certainly not delusional either. This is not what makes them mentally strong. Instead, powerful people are very aware of their varying strengths and weaknesses. In business, powerful people will often outsource the tasks at which they are less skilled. And in life, powerful people know where their limits are and what their triggers might be. This allows them to move through their lives with more ease and to give themselves the time and the space needed to work on their faults. The ability to say to yourself, I know I struggle a lot with this, so I'm going to take my time and work on it, is one of the most powerful things that you can do. And you got to be willing to be disliked. Powerful people are not the ones who are most universally liked. Oh, see, that's the problem. We want everybody to like us. We want everybody to be our friend. We want to be the most liked guy ever, the most liked gal ever. We want everybody singing our praises. But when you're powerful, guess what? You're not liked by everyone. This is not to say that you behave in a way that's malicious. Nope. But it is to say that no matter what you do, others are going to judge you. Period. Powerful people know this. There is no path in life that you can take that will free of resistance from others. And so it is important that you are not only that you not only become okay with being disliked, but you anticipate it and you act anyway. I already know with a lot of the decisions that I have to make that I'm not going to be liked. I act anyway. And you act on purpose. Powerful and purposeful are one in the same. Act on purpose. Y'all put that in the chat. Powerful and purposeful are one in the same. Act on purpose. Powerful and purposeful are one in the same. Let's look at the definitions. What is the definition of powerful? Powerful is having control and influence over people and events, having or producing great force of energy. Powerful, having control and influence over people and events, right? Purposeful, what is the definition of purposeful? The definition of purposeful is having or showing determination or resolve. So, influence over people and events, and then determination or resolve. Having a useful purpose, determination or resolve. Purpose, intentional, intention. Lord have mercy. So powerful and purposeful are one and the same. To be a truly powerful person, you need to have complete, unwavering conviction about what you want to create. To do this, you have to shift from a live for the moment to a live for the legacy mindset. See, you know what? Let me help some of y'all understand something. Let me help y'all. Let me help you. Some people won't go all in with network marketing. I'm a network marketer, and some people won't go all in because they're like, you know what, I'm just, I'm not really called to be a network marketer. Well, I'm a businesswoman who uses network marketing as my platform to conduct business. Okay, that's what I do. And I know that there's a bigger end. I know that network marketing leads me to some of the other areas that I want to go. I don't all the way know the end game for me, but I know a lot of the goals of what I have in the very near future. Now, as I am walking it out on the road to those goals, the end goal might change. Some of y'all gonna catch that and some of y'all gonna miss it. But to be a truly powerful person, you need to have a complete, unwavering conviction about what you want to create. To do this, you have to shift from a I'm living for the moment to a living for the legacy mindset. Who you living for if you ain't trying to figure it out? If you living every single day, you a whole grown up and you ain't figured it out yet. So who are you living for? Oh, because we think we're gonna live forever. So we don't have to decide. Your purpose is dynamic, is a dynamic, evolving thing. I just talked about this evolution today with my team, with our teams on training. Your purpose is a dynamic, evolving thing. Most of the time, it is the intersection of what you are interested in and what you're good at and what the world needs. You know what? You know what? You know why so many people have a problem with their purpose? You want to know why so many people have a problem with their purpose? Because they're measuring their purpose and their calling to someone else's. So because their purpose might not be as open. So basically, if y'all watch The Matrix, anybody watch did anybody see The Matrix? If you saw The Matrix, hit a 1 in the comments. Any of them. If you saw The Matrix, hit a 1 in the comments. So when you watch The Matrix, in the movie The Matrix, there was a key. What did he call himself? The key keeper. The key keeper. The key keeper had this whole big old ring of keys. He had the key to open one specific door for Keanu Reeves, and then he died. Because his purpose was to have the key to the door. He wasn't Keanu Reeves fighting off all the, right? No, he was the key keeper. And sometimes we see the gift that God has given us as not as significant. And you see, because somebody else might have a what you think is a bigger gift, you don't see your key keeping gift as solid or as necessary or significant as someone else who has a different gifting. Comparison is the thief of joy. And because you've decided that you're not happy with your purpose, you would rather your purpose be as big as somebody else's. But maybe the moment that you get comfortable with maybe your calling is to hold the door. Be the best darn door holder you could be. Maybe your calling is to set the tables. Maybe your calling is to be the greeter. Be the best darn greeter that you can be. There's a woman at our church every single Sunday morning. She has a bald head. She's at the door every Sunday morning. She's one of the first people we see when we walk into the church. I look forward to seeing her every Sunday. And I'm going to make sure that I tell her this Sunday. Because her purpose in my life is that she greets me every single Sunday with a big old smile on her face. What if that's her purpose? Having a clear vision of what you want to create and accomplish is essential to finding your inner power. You will not feel strongly about a dream that is not a part of who you most essentially are. I'm not passionate about products mainly. You know what I'm passionate about? Paul, I'm passionate about helping people. That's what I'm passionate about. And people don't even understand that what we do, because I sell products, I don't just sell products. No, I'm passionate about the people that are coming off of blood pressure meds. And I'm not making a medical claim. I'm talking about testimonies. I am passionate about how people are getting their mojo back. I am passionate about people that are feeling like themselves again. I'm passionate about people who are earning extra income and building their confidence again and going to the doctors, and the doctors are like, go home, go home. What are you here for? We can't operate. You're not in pain. I'm passionate about people not being in pain. I'm passionate about all those things. And I just so happen to have products that can help people live a better quality life. Maybe you ought to change the way you think about what you've got in your hands and think about it being a gift to bring restoration and healing and comfort. And maybe you'll see what you got bigger, better. You'll move faster because you claim you want to help people. Oh, but you don't want to help them this way. Oh, because you want to kind of be the fixer. You want to be their God. You want to be their God. And you want to be the reason why somebody says, oh, I feel better today because you want to be their God. No, I just want to be a conduit. I just want to be the vessel. I'm not God, but God has given me the ability to have some things to help people feel good. I'm not God, but I can connect you to the source. Hope that helped you. You will not feel strongly about a dream. Do your inner work. What work? The inner work. This is perhaps the most important and yet most commonly overlooked because it is the least comfortable. Doing the inner work is not comfortable. To do your inner work means to evaluate why something triggered you, why something is upsetting you, what your life is trying to show you, and the ways that you could grow from these experiences. Everything we go through is to help us grow. We don't go through anything, we grow through them. Truly powerful people absorb what has happened to them and sort of metabolize it. metabolize it. They use it as an opportunity to learn, to develop themselves. This type of inner mental and emotional work is non-negotiable if you want to be truly powerful. So if you're not doing any inner work, you don't want to be powerful because it's non-negotiable. In order for you to be powerful, you must do the inner work. It is non-negotiable. If you want to be powerful, if you want to be wealthy, you're never going to be wealthy if you don't commit to the inner work. Also, so a lot of us will go to the gym and work out, but we won't commit to the inner work. We'll commit to the outer work, but hell with the inner work. Rut-row. Oh, we'll put on makeup and hair, but won't deal with the inner work. Rut-row. We'll put on cute shoes and a cute outfit, but we won't work on the inner work. Powerful people are not the most aggressive. Aggression is usually a self-defense mechanism. Powerful people are the most unfazed by small disturbances and the most willing to fully process and work through the big ones. Of course, this is the foundational stuff. Next, you have to work on simplifying your life, talking less about your ambitions, and showing more of your accomplishments once they are completed. Even the Bible tells you to study to be quiet. You know, I'm amazed oftentimes when people just be over talking me. And Paul, I literally just be sitting there. I just quiet down. Shut up. Since you know everything, I just decide I'm going to be quiet. Because people literally over talk me when I'm trying to teach them and help them. Oh, okay. So I just get quiet. Powerful people are the most unfazed. Of course, this is the foundational stuff. Next, you have to work on simplifying your life, talking less about your ambitions and showing more of your accomplishments once they are completed. Gradually make health improvements. Assume that everyone and everything has something to teach you. Being comfortable with vulnerability, being comfortable with vulnerability, being comfortable with vulnerability. That's most of y'all problems right now. You want everybody to think you perfect. You want them to think your marriage is perfect, your life is perfect, you're mature, you got it all together. When the reality of it is you ain't got a clue. But as long as you can make it look good because you're driving good, dressing good, smelling good, what difference does it make if you have no clue who you are or where you're going? And what I learned, and the reason why I dropped all that weight is because I got vulnerable about who I really was. Vulnerable. Vulnerability precedes almost every significant part of your life and intentionally designs your daily routine. Through everything you must be thinking as your most powerful self would. If you learn to see the world and your life through that lens, you can create a life that reflects the intentions of that side of you. It already exists. Who you desire to be already exists. Who I desire to be already exists. You just need to know how to tap into it. Say tap, 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 tap. It's 6:54. I think I'm gonna stop right there because I'm not gonna be able to get through. This is another sub. Yeah. Okay. So we'll be able to we'll finish the rest. We'll finish the rest of this chapter next week. We'll start with learning to validate your feelings. I don't know about y'all, but this is so good. So good. We're going to start next week with learning to validate your feelings. And through everything, you must be thinking about your most powerful self. What you're thinking, you must be thinking as your most powerful self would. If you learn to see the world and your life through that lens, you can create a life that reflects the intentions of that side of you because it already exists. You just need to know how to Tap, 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 tap into it. This is so powerful. Powerful. Next week, we are going to learn how to validate our feelings. Validate them, okay. It may not even be reality. It's what you think and feel, but it doesn't make it real. We're going to learn why it's effective. We're going to adopting your own principles. What is the principle? Why is inspiration ineffective here? How do I start developing my own principles? Finding your true purpose, figuring out what you want to do with your life. That's going to be big. And then we go into chapter 7, which is from self-sabotage to self-mastery. This is so good. All right. So, Paul, do you think I should go ahead and tell them now where we're going from here? All right. So, can you grab that book off the bookshelf? I know he probably like, what book? It's white with a bunch of colors on it. No. It's facing you. As soon as you walk in, it's to the left-hand side. Just look to the left, and it's going to be facing you on the shelf with, I think, Majesty's pictures. It's got colorful letters. All right. This is a great book. And I'm getting ready to show you guys comparing is like a slap God's face. I believe it is. You know what? When you compare yourself to other people, it's like telling God you're not satisfied with who he's made you. Thank you. All right, y'all. So we are going to grow. We're going to grow in the area of emotional intelligence. And when we're finished this book, we are going to go to permission to feel. I believe we are. Don't go by this just yet. But I believe we're going to go to permission to feel. If we don't go to permission to feel, there's one other book that I have in my mind. But we are going to be working on emotional healing. This is one of the 2 books that I actually want us to read. I'm just not certain yet. You can get this and maybe put it in your repertoire, but just know that I'm not positive, because today the Holy Spirit had me like, I don't know. But I bought this a few months ago for us. But I know we will be working on emotional intelligence. All right. But even if we don't go here next, this is still a good book for you to get. Okay. So hoping that you had an amazing book club experience with us. If this was your first time, hit a 1 and let us know. Listen, you all know what we want you to do. Be nice, right? Be kind to one another. Do a good deed. Pay it forward this week, right? We want you to get well and get wealthy. So what I want you to do is I want you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Make sure you are subscribed so that every time we go live, you get a notification, ping, right, that we are live here on the Nina R. Moorer YouTube channel. And then I want you to make sure that you're subscribing to my website, ninamoorer.com. Go and subscribe to the website. You're going to get a free gift. You should get an email when you subscribe that leads you to a link that gives you a free gift. I believe it's working properly for everyone. And so I want you to have an amazing rest of your evening. Like I said, be kind to one another. Be nice this week. Pay it forward. Do a good deed. And always remember that God loves you. I love you. And there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. We'll see you next week. Bye.